Smooth 98.1. It is now time at 7:30. It's time for us to go into detailed analysis of our newspaper stories this morning. And the program is called Freshly Pressed 981. If you're just joining us for the first time, well, we have different ways you can send in your comments and observations on the show. You can send it through our WhatsApp number.
WhatsApp platform is 0809 4440981.
And on Twitter.
On Twitter, hashtag is freshly pressed 981.
And of course, you have us here, Smooth Breakfast with Ayo and myself.
Valentine.
And this morning, joining us with analysis, we have Cheta Ohaneze this morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Cheta. You can find him up on Twitter at Chickster. And not forgetting Tunde Okufi is at Big Cruise as well. Good morning.
Morning, Valentine.
Good morning to you. And Justin, who's just celebrated his birthday last week. Justin, welcome.
Good morning, yes.
He's at Justin EJ on socials, on the social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Lagos, let's start with the first set of stories. The first one is from Punch. Punch newspaper has this headline: Onnoghen, that's the former Chief Justice, as we hear. Onnoghen to challenge suspension in court. Well, the Chief Justice of Nigeria is still the president in the news. But going through the details, we'll find out the drama that ensued over the weekend. Well, Justice Walter Onnoghen will, on Monday, that's today, challenge a suspension by the President Muhammad Buhari in court, just as the National Judicial Council's 88th meeting in Abuja has been delayed following fears of a possible clash between supporters of Onnoghen and the acting CJN Justice Tanko Mohammed. A few things we know about this new acting CJN, Cheta, before I go into the analysis. Justice Tanko Mohammed is 65 years old. He has been the present CJN acting capacity, and he's been a justice of the Supreme Court since 2006 till now. A few things that worry me. First, from the news, when we heard that on Friday President Muhammad Buhari had suspended the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Walter Onnoghen, I asked myself, really, the processes that requires that a sitting CJN be suspended, shouldn't it require a two-thirds majority, approval from the Senate? And why is the president, subverting their rule here?
I take exception to the first thing that you said when you said Mohammed Tanko is acting CJN. He's not. He's illegally occupying that seat.
It's according to the details of the story.
Let's not even let's not play English here. Even the president himself, in paragraph 9 of his speech, when he announced his illegal suspension of Onnoghen, he said, and I quote, "The real effect has been a stalling of the trial of Justice Onnoghen, helped along by lawyers who insist that these orders, whether right or wrong, are technically valid and must be obeyed till an appellate court says otherwise. No doubt that is the proper interpretation, but is it the right disposition for our nation?" I mean, the president is admitting that he's not doing the right thing, but then saying, but it's not said. Who gave him the right to determine right and wrong? Is he the pastor of everybody, or the imam of everybody, or whatever? No. There is a process, and there's a reason why process is set down. See, what Buhari has done by this thing, even with his admission, it's not embedded, is he has blown the rule of law out of the water. And that should not surprise us. On August 28th last year, he told no less than the Nigerian Bar Association that, the rule of law should be subject to national interest. And for me personally, it is increasingly clear that Buhari's interpretation of national interest is his interest. Look at the way this whole Onnoghen thing has happened, from A to B. Now, nobody is saying that Onnoghen has not done wrong, but there is a process, and there's a reason why process was set down. And your inability to... So, the Code of Conduct Tribunal, number one, doesn't have the power to order the Onnoghen suspension. Be that as it may, they adjourned on August 23. And then on January 22, they adjourned till today. But then the next day, they went and did an ex parte motion, which was not moved by anybody. There was no name on the motion papers. And all of these are in the public domain. So you did something through cloak and dagger means. Number one, to do something like this, it cannot be an ex parte motion. I tend to be careful when I'm talking legal things.
Yeah.
But every single lawyer I've spoken to, and I've spoken to 8, all say the same thing.
Well, could this be the reason why the president be preempting some of the actions that will follow suit after this? Could it be the reason why he called for the APC members, in the Senate for a meeting today?
Of course, he's playing politics with everything. This is politics. I mean, they're calling the APC guys is to try to, because the Senate, which had gone on recess, and note that the whole suspension nonsense happened the day after the Senate went on recess for elections. Then suddenly they invited, because of this, they called an emergency meeting, and then he calls everybody. He's subverting their powers. It's wrong. And what this thing that he has done will have economic effects on all of us, because the one thing that people call this is not a surprise that our foreign investment portfolio dropped 36% last year.
Yes.
The one thing that investors look for is rule of law. If you don't have rule of law, they run for the hills. This thing will affect all of us. Final words to all those who are supporting this. The koboko way they used to beat senior wife, they could still use and beat junior wife. As you are cheering this kind of thing, one day somebody else will come and he will do this, and the precedent has been set.
All right.
And it will be against you.
It's a point to note that the Nigerian Bar Association has summoned an emergency National Executive Council meeting over Onnoghen's suspension, and people are reacting from across board. The APC has reacted as well as CNPP as weighing in support on the president's move. But let's move on to the next story that's kind of similar to this. And in the details gives us an inkling to what the stance of the United Kingdom, the government of the United Kingdom of the United States and the European Union in general are saying to this. They said they are frowning on the removal of the CJN. But we learned about this because the Vice President, Yemi Osinbajo, was meant to be a guest on a television interview on Sunday, but he declined from attending that interview as protesters besieged the entrance to the location where he was meant to appear. Well, take us through this today.
Yeah, the UK, the EU, the US. I mean, I think the US through the Embassy in Nigeria actually statement was one of the first that I read and I saw, and they made their position very clear. Very often we forget that, look, there are three arms of government here. There's the executive arm, there's the judicial arm, and there's the legislative arm. Right? They are all, people forget that they should be equal. Right? It's just that the functions and roles are separate. Right? The judicial arm is not subject to the executive arm. Therefore, any government that is serious about the state of democracy cannot have any. That's why the constitution is built such that the executive arm cannot remove, people from the judicial arm. So this is a clear. If we're talking about right and wrong, the principles are wrong. Then it's a clear violation of the constitution, and it creates all sorts of worries. Right?
Well, how would you say the president could have gone? What kind of measures could he have taken instead of just suspending the Chief Justice of Nigeria? Could there be other measures he would have taken that would have been better?
Valentine, there's a process, right? That process was in process. Yeah, it was ongoing. That process was ongoing. This truncates that process, right? Beyond whatever it is that he wanted or he wants personally. See, through history, if you look through history,
yes,
horrible things have happened. When people in leadership say, let's look at, in my effort or my threat to fight the bad guy, yeah, let's look away from what's right and what's proper. Let's look away from the process. Let's look away from the law. And atrocities are, have been committed in that process, because the definition of who the bad guy is defined by the person who is in charge at the time. The only thing that is sovereign and supreme should be the law and our process.
One way to put it, if I'm moving on that,
Okay.
discretion is too fickle to be allowed to hold sway over the rule of law. Because if it's at Tunde's discretion today, and Tunde is a good guy, Cheta might be a bad guy, and we leave it to Cheta's
Exactly.
discretion.
So the time
You don't want to be under my government, because what are we to do to you?
You see now.
All right. So it's your sentiments are being echoed by Yinka in his message on WhatsApp. He says no one is implying the action of the executive on the CJN is right, and likewise, no one is saying it is right for the CJN to have forgotten his accounts. The fact still remains that both parties have gone about the whole issue in a very wrong manner, and we expect lawyers on both sides of the divide to have properly interpreted the law before, because there's a process in place, and it's a process that we're talking about. let's quickly move on to next processes. When it comes to the 2019 election, from Guardian, we have this story: Atiku endorsements splits Ohaneze Ndigbo. So, why is this news? Now, chieftains of Ohaneze Ndigbo are split on over the purported endorsement of the candidates of the People's Democratic Party, Alhaji Abubakar Atiku, by the organization. Why? It's because, I mean, this is raising eyebrows because this group, the Igbo Apex Social Cultural Organization, the arm of it, by the name IMOB, is an arm of the Ohaneze Ndigbo. They were before now non-partisan, but why the change of heart? Because it seems to be sending a lot of shivers in the hearts of the opposition. Cheta, please take us through this.
The number one, the headline is wrong. Because if reading through the headline, they didn't interview anybody who is in IMOB. They didn't interview anybody who is in the exco of Ohaneze. They just went first straight to a former Secretary General of the organization, OBR also, and he said that he quoted, he said that Wodo, who is the current President General of Ohaneze, that he doesn't have a right to do this because his tenure has expired. First things first, that's factually incorrect. Wodo's tenure expires in 2 years' time. First. Number two, Ohaneze is a social-cultural group, and they have a right to endorse who they want to endorse. There is no, if Ohaneze says, okay, we're endorsing Atiku, it does not mean that all Ndigbo are endorsing Atiku. Same way that when Afenifere endorses somebody, it doesn't mean that all Yoruba people have endorsed that person. So, making this thing, for me, what really annoyed me in this whole matter was the fact that after the endorsements, the governor of Anambra State, Willie Obiano, insulted Wondo. That's a problem. We can't. Everybody is entitled to hold their opinions. Everybody is entitled to endorse whoever they want to endorse. You can't go about making a storm in a teacup. And then my criticism of this article is every single person that the Guardian interviewed here, from Ozobu, Ngige, Ken Unamani, are all APC members. So why do you say is split in Ohaneze's leadership when you haven't interviewed anybody in IMOB or Ohaneze?
So you envisage that the others would have a different mindset?
They held a meeting. They had a meeting in Enugu last week before endorsing Atiku.
All right, now in terms of endorsements, Jetta, just take you back. According to reports, actually, Ohaneze historically have been non-partisan largely, and because it's such a diverse group with members, their members supporting diverse parties, they have said that they don't support the party. So that's one of the biggest things that they're challenging here. Also, one of the attacks against this endorsement is that they were endorsed because many of the people who took this endorsement line are PDP members. So how do you then not divide a group of people who have the right to vote whoever they want to vote by endorsing a particular party?
I started by saying that everybody is entitled to this opinion.
Right.
One. Number two, Ohaneze's leadership met last week. I believe it was on Thursday when they came out with the endorsement. Number three, to understand why Ohaneze, specifically among all the social cultural groups in the country, has always chosen to remain non-partisan, you have to understand the history of how Ohaneze came to be. Ohaneze was formed in '76 by people like Dennis Osadebe, Ben Wabweze, as a reaction to the death of the Igbo Progressive Union after the Civil War. So it is that post-Civil War trauma, for want of a better word, that made them diligently stick to non-partisanship. But they feel, whether rightly or wrongly, that this is a time to take a stand. So they had a meeting and they came out with a position. Whether most of their members are PDP members or not, by the way, Wondo is not. Whether
Those
most
who
of
took the decisions, I mean,
Wondo is the leadership cast. So there are people who are in, especially ABGA. There are more ABGA members in Ohaneze. So all of that is irrelevant. The point is, we are making a mountain out of a molehill, and this report was badly done.
All right, thank you very much, Etta. From Punch newspaper, we'll have this next headline. Strike, still talking about the ASUU strike. ASUU denies receiving 163 billion naira from the federal government. And this is a story that broke last week. We heard in a report, multiple reports, that the amount of 163 billion naira had been released to ASUU, putting the record straight. The members, actually the Academic Staff Union of Universities, yesterday denied receiving any such sum, and one of the statements quoted here was from an Ibadan zonal coordinator of the union. What do you make of this, Justin?
I think ASUU is hair splitting at this point because money was released. Yes, it wasn't to ASUU. Money was released purportedly released to the Ministry of Education from TED Fund. Now, TED Fund is one of the intervention agencies. So, when you read this article, you realize that ASUU is mainly hair splitting by saying, look, you didn't give money to ASUU. Okay, but money was released to the universities for the same causes that ASUU has been fighting. And if you read through Mr. Ogun Adejmo, right, Dr. Ade Adejmo,
Yes.
who made the statement that the Ibadan Zonal Coordinator at some point said that he made a call to the other stakeholders in the educational sector, i.e. the vice chancellors and the board members of the university administrative committees, that they should join the fray when ASUU is fighting, and not, let me read him verbatim. It is in the context of the above that our union calls on the vice chancellors and council chairmen to stop behaving like vultures that wait silently by the sidelines, waiting for the game to fall, only to descend on the carcass. Very picturesque language. And it calls to my mind the fact that, oh, so we're also playing this game of kill and divide here, right? You're screaming, give us the money, we want to reform the sector, and you turn around to other people and say, because the money is going to be given to you, come and join the fight, not when the money falls.
Because in
so
essence,
what is the vulture and what's the carcass?
It seems as if they're exposing themselves.
Hair splitting. So I'm tired of this. Let's move on.
Thank you very much. A few messages here on WhatsApp. Lagos, remember the number to send that message to on WhatsApp is 0809-444-0981. Ribbon and Joko says, please, I'm enjoying the show. Thank you very much for sending this message. We have this one here from Yinka as well. Yinka says Professor Sage is said to be an authority in the contract law and probably law matters in general. He's got the opinion on the issue, on which I find strange. Owole Olanikweko, on the other hand, does not make right arguments. Even Clark and Files, the good guy, have had their opinion. Is it that they all attended a different law school? I'm waiting for the VP and BRF opinions on this same issue, because all of our lawyers are just Confucianists on this one.
The VP dodged the live this where he will probably have been questioned because he knows it's wrong.
That was yesterday.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see, how the events are playing out. Benga Komu sends in this message, says the lawyers who are to blame in this country, who are the bane of this country, did Buhari not take advice of the AGF before embarking on this adventure? It is the lawyers who are the... Okay, he repeats that same message. Thank you very much, Benga.
All right, I'm sure the lawyers would have one or two things to say in response to you, Benga. But moving away from that story, we have this one here from The Guardian. Please place embargo on issuance of new arms licenses. The Acting Inspector General of Police, Mr. Mohammed Adamu, has placed with immediate effect embargo on the issuance of new licenses for designated arms throughout the country. He said that it would halt the ongoing proliferation of weapons, restore law and order, and bring perpetrators to justice. Now, the News Agency of Nigeria reports that the immediate past IG, Mr. Ibrahim Idris, had ordered a mop-up of illegal and unauthorized arms from across the country. Tunde, you're smiling.
Yeah, I'm smiling for different reasons,
All
but it's
right.
okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, look, and everything from here on out is nuanced, right? And has to... it's very easy to say, oh, this is good news, but you have to look at it from the perspective of the election being around the corner.
True.
Right. So yes, it's good that we should reduce arms on the streets, but you also have to be a bit cynical and look at ways things can be abused. It's just like the way the CJN story really is not about corruption; it's about the election. The bits that begin to make me scratch my head is that they say this will be based on intelligence, targeted. Yeah, it should be target oriented. So in the hands of mischievous people, this can then therefore be targeted at opposition operators. We all know, unfortunately, how elections are run.
Well, why
in our
should the
country.
opposition?
There's thuggery, right? So people are mobilized and armed, sometimes with firearms, and other times, so from firearms down to cutlasses.
Yes.
That's how elections are, organized and prosecuted in this country. So in the hands of people who are mischievous, you go after people who don't support your cause and look away from those who do. And it's almost like we're weaponizing for the election in a sense. So this is good. It's difficult to say it's not good.
So it's good across board.
Yes, it's good across board, but we will see how it's implemented. And it has it set very high standards for itself. Things that it says this will, like you read, that it will halt and mop up. This won't halt anything, right? It will intimidate, yes.
At least reduce.
And it will intimidate those who they want to intimidate, right? So.
All right. Okay, moving on from that story, move still on election matters. I think it's safe to say that a lot of the stories around this season would be around that. 2019 group files suit challenging voting in IDP camps. Premium time, welcome to Premium Times. Now, this is an interesting story. A group, the Forum for Transparency and Integrity in Leadership, have asked the Lagos Division of the Federal High Court to restrain the Independent National Electoral Commission from conducting elections in internally displaced persons camps. Now, just as a background to this suit, the INEC boss, Mahmoud Yakubu, had said the commission had developed a framework to enable the IDPs to participate in elections, including IDPs in other countries, so in Chad and Niger. Justin, what's your take on this?
I know.
At some point we need to ask ourselves, how constitutional is our constitution? Because it's everybody's whipping post right now. Everybody is all over the constitution.
So interpretation all over the place.
Tiring, yes. And the thing is, even things that are not subject to interpretation, the electoral laws are very clear. Now, it's disturbing when the INEC head comes out and starts making this kind of claims that carry on as though there's no codified body of rules, right, that you should refer to. And even if you have this intention, it behooves on you to go back and do the homework, right, that is required to be done before you make the pronouncement public. You need to go back and fix whatever bureaucratic issues that the constitution or the laws that govern you present you with. Now, you want people who are in IDP camps to vote. You want even those in IDP camps outside the boundaries of the country to vote.
How does that apply?
I understand his passion for the internally displaced people, but this constitution and this law actually says that you must have a voters register that contains the names of everybody. Going by report, no enumeration of IDPs have been done, right? You haven't put them in the National Voters Register, and you want them outside the boundaries of the country. And where is this outside the boundaries of the country? In the countries bordering in the northeast and all of that, Niger and blah blah blah. And we have people here in Lagos. We have people here who are disenfranchised. We can't vote. I relocated from Port Harcourt to Lagos years back. My baby is still in transit somewhere.
You're not in Nigeria.
And you want people across the border. So the sensitivities and the optics of it are lost on you, or you simply don't care, because everybody's going to rise up and say, what are you planning to do? This is Nigeria. What are you planning to do? You want people in Niger to vote because they are IDPs. Okay, who are these IDPs? You can't tell us their names.
Wouldn't this be interpreted as blatantly trying to legalize unlawful practices, to put it in a better way? Because once upon a time, thank you very much. Once upon a time, that was a cry. So putting it in the front of the papers.
The same INEC that registered 10-year-olds and all that, we saw them. They apologized. They said we've delisted them from the register. I'm not aware.
How is this different?
The challenge is, as some people, the concerns that some people have raised is that when the numbers are vague and you don't have an exact number of people in a particular place,
when
it's
the
quite
numbers
difficult.
Don't exist.
It's easier to then rig, and so that's the challenge, that some people have identified with regards to this development. More stories or more updates when it comes to us after this. Moving away from that to Vanguard, where police retires 7 Deputy Inspector General of Police, senior to acting IGP Mohammed Adamu. Now, the Acting Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, has approved the retirement of all the Deputy Inspector General of Police after getting the all clear from the Police Council headed by President Muhammadu Buhari. Another contentious move. Again, Cheta?
No, it's not
No,
contentious
not
per
contentious.
se. It's wasteful. I mean, it has become an unfortunate tradition that we've carried on and entrenched from our coup-making days. So a bit of background on how this tradition came to be. 1965, when the Nigerian army was transitioning from Major General Welby, the last British chief of army staff, there were four people who were in line to succeed Major General Welby and become the first Nigerian chief of army staff. You had Johnson Aguiyi-Ironsi, you had Brigadier Samuel Ogundipe, you had Brigadier Sam Ademulegun, and you had Ogundipe was not Samuel. You had Sam Ademulegun and you had Maina Larry. And Welby in his reports what was the word? In his report, he recommended, yes, that's what I was looking for. He recommended Ogundipe to succeed him. Now, Ogundipe was the most junior of all of those guys, but Welby, in his opinion, felt that Ogundipe was the most competent.
Yeah.
However, because of our Higi-Haga politics, our politicians decided to overrule Welby and put Aguiyi-Ironsi, who was the most senior, in place. Now, Welby had recommended that when these guys are replaced, when Ogundipe gets there, that these guys should be sent to other formations out of country so that seniority thing won't arise. That would have been an elegant way of dealing with it. And a year and a half later, when the second coup happened, and Gowon, who was junior to Ogundipe, became head of state, they sent Ogundipe to the Nigerian ambassador to the UK, and that was where he spent the last 5 years of his life. Fast forward 10 years, and then the coup that brought Murtala Mohammed happened, and then they started this tradition of as soon as a group of junior officers do a coup, and they will just retire everybody, and it spread to the police, and that's what we've done ever since. What it does is it wastes manpower, it wastes years of training, and most importantly, it wastes experience. And it's sad that we're still
that you can't buy.
Yeah.
They now become the Abobaku for the incoming guy.
But guys, we don't have to
need
move
to
on.
change
We had to move on. Just to note that some of them had just been promoted some 3 to 5 months ago, so like you mentioned, waste of resources and expertise. All right, moving away from that to another one from Premium Times. Grants detained herdsmen amnesty, group tells Nigerian government. Now, Saleh Bayari, a leader of the coalition of Fulani herdsmen groups in Nigeria, has appealed to the federal government to grant unconditional amnesty to their members detained over various crime allegations in the country. Now, Justin, he said that they should consider the same thing they did for the Niger Delta militants.
Absolutely nonsense.
I do agree with the militants.
Absolute and complete insanity. Now, let me start by saying that a crime is a crime and will always be a crime. And if you're willing to do the crime, you should be able to pay the time. Now, linking it back to, so I'll link it to 2 things. The earlier story about embargo on issuance of arms, right? Yeah. And then the reference to the Niger Delta situation. Now, there's a false equivalent whenever in recent times this Fulani herdsmen issue has come up. There's this attempt to tie the narrative to the Niger Delta situation. I'd just like to say that, in my opinion, first off, I do not and I have never endorsed the militancy in the Niger Delta. Yeah. There was a cause, right? There was environmental degradation, there was a neglect for a place where resources were coming from that still exists, that needs to be fixed. I don't think it may have been expedient at the time, and we should have learned the lesson from it, that rewarding people for basically bad behavior never is going to take you a long way.
It sets a bad precedent. Everybody will now seek to latch onto that.
This is what we're seeing. So people are carrying cutlasses and bows and arrows and killing people and suddenly turn around and say, give us amnesty. You're on the one hand saying, if you have guns, we're going to clamp down, bring the guns back. People are used to the fact that the imperative of consequence is dead in Nigeria. Nobody gets punished for anything anymore. That's why people do everything and get away with it. And
this is what we see here.
This is what we see.
Well, it's important to know that 3,000 Fulani clans are in detention at different security formations in the country.
All right.
Moving away to that, we'll take some comments.
We only have time for comments, yes, on WhatsApp. We have this one from Amaka Chimobi from Oludi Apapa, Lagos. Says, good morning, House. What Nigerians are asking or demanding, even the international community, is to simply follow due process on the issues of the CJN and allow rule of law to take its place, and let such speed that the federal government has applied here be applicable to other cases. Emeka here sent in a message. He said, when I have conversations with my friends about politics, I end up asking them, why can't our politicians just take cue from Tyron Lannister. The reply is, the reply I get is, no be film, you're just naive. Now, our president has gone further to pick few things from Cersei Lannister and Daenerys Targaryen. The man is, oh boy, okay, he's calling names here, but thank you very much for your message. Wale says, my problem with the president is always creating unforced errors. CJN really messed up, and then it's leveraged. Well, the president ought to have leveraged on the strength of the matter and sentiments against corruption to follow due process and take the steam off the support of the CJN. Thank you very much, Wale. And we have messages, more and more messages. This one is from Ike. Ike says, the CJN issue is what you get when a poorly written script is being hurriedly implemented, and just a few days to the elections. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening to Freshly Pressed 91 today, and special thanks to our analysts for stepping in this morning. The Chetawanza is at Chickster on Twitter, Tunde Okufi is at Big Coves, and of course Justin EJ is by the same name at Justin EJ. Coming up next, we talk sports inside of the locker room at 8:15. Good morning.
What is this Edo Sans name again?
So I read something from him this morning. Great quote.
We're still on YouTube.
Okay. The only jurisdiction on the Onnoghen issue, the only jurisdiction a court whose jurisdiction has been duly challenged is the jurisdiction to determine its own jurisdiction. Great quote.
I mean, sorry. I think this is an absolute abuse because it destroys the essence of the democracy, which is like what you mentioned, separating the powers of the legislative, the judiciary.
I mean, simple and short. It's very simple, and I'm loving it because at the end of the day, the kubuku where they use the flocks,
They'll use other guys.
it will go around.
We can complain about all we want about Jonathan, and I was sick of the dude, but he didn't blatantly circumvent the process like this.
This one is in your face.
What are you gonna do?
Court says, grant this guy bail.
This guy though.
That's your business.
This guy anyhow.
We're still talking about flouting of bail instructions.
Because it means that if he can do this, he can do anything. That's above the law. And once your leader is above the law, there's a big problem.
And he has told all these other guys. The whole matter is
point that they didn't bring up that you
Buhari supporters. If when they want to justify, they will say, "Oh, Jonathan did." We voted for change. What the fuck is wrong with you?
So you should do the same thing.
Chet, I still hold
Jonathan
you.
never
I
did
still
this.
stand against what you said about that Ohaneze thing. They were not supposed to endorse anybody. They are not.
Ohaneze is the only socio-cultural group in
non-partisan.
the country that has never endorsed the
So why change it now?
Why change it now? Because
they've never done it.
because they are looking at the mood in the east. I can tell you this for a
What
fact.
has mood got to do with particular?
They are looking at the mood,
principles?
the mood in the east because the governors, the
Did the
Mobiano, are
endorsement come from
openly.
the leadership of
But they speaking for all Igbo.
They are speaking for
All
most
No
Igbo.
sociocultural group can never see this.
Okay,
Yes,
he's
but
part of the country. Is also part of Buhari. What's the mood about Buhari in Ibuzo? It's poisonous.
It's poisonous, really.
But
It's
Atiku is the
poisonous.
only candidate. Even if they can speak against the status quo, but they shouldn't have endorsed any candidate.
They were forced. Trust me on that. Trust me on that. Yes.